You're listening to the Midwest Motorsports Cool Down Lap, the only podcast covering all three series in the league. Join your host, Anthony Castor, alongside Midwest Motorsports CEO, Justin Thaler, and James Johnson, the voice of Midwest Motorsports. Buckle up, because the Cool Down Lap starts now.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Cool Down Lap, presented by Midwest Motorsports. We're joined here tonight with a special guest. We got Lee Winters here with us, driver of the 45. He participates in our Truck Series and our Cup Series. And, of course, you're joined by Anthony Castor, driver of the 8, along with James Johnson, the voice of Midwest Motorsports, that is calling our action every week. Before we hop into our This Week in Motorsports segment, James, man, how'd your weekend go? Did you have a good one?
Yeah, it was not too bad. Thanks for asking, man. I'm born and raised in Atlanta, and I'm still not used to this 99-degree weather from 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So you won't catch me outside very often in the heat unless I'm racing somewhere. But yeah, I had a great weekend otherwise. Some really good Midwest Motorsports racing. I'm looking forward to talking tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to catch a whole lot of the action, so I'm going to rely on your talking quite a bit. But from what I did get to see of the Pocono Cup race, it looked like an exciting finish. So we'll break that down a little bit later in the show. But like I mentioned, we have Lee Winters here with us. So we're going to go into our This Week in Motorsports segment. And we're going to save Lee for last, but he can always pitch in and give his thoughts and opinions on what we're going to talk about here. And then we'll get into kind of just getting to know Lee and, his progression through the league and such, and what he does outside the league. So hang tight. We'll get into that. So I'll lead off with This Week in Motorsports, and it's probably going to be a contentious one involving the Cup Series and the Atlanta reconfiguration. James, you're probably going to have a different opinion than me on this. And Lee, we'll get your opinion on this as well. But in my opinion, and it's probably an unpopular one, I feel like this reconfiguration of Atlanta, while it can produce some exciting racing or finishes, I'm not a big fan of the reconfiguration. I wish it would have just stayed the way it was and made, I don't know, not put as much banking in it or turn it into what a super speedway kind of setup is, whether that is the setup or whether it's the car or the changes they made to the track and adding whatever degrees of banking. I just feel like old Atlanta produced some better racing. That's my This Week in Motorsports. It's like I said, a contentious take. Probably a little mixed reaction from everybody that's watched the race or watched races there since the reconfiguration, but I'm just not a fan. James, man, what do you think of the track?
Man, you obviously must not know me well enough yet, because I, for the first time, might agree with you, Ant.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, I know. July 30th, June 30th.
On
Right,
the calendars.
history. That's right. No, I don't know if you can blame it on the track though. The configuration of the track, I think, was requested because I'm not a fan of the low horsepower. I think if we're gonna do it super speedway style, give them all the horsepower they got. I
Sure.
mean, it took them like 3 laps to wind up. Like you could. Okay, now I listen to a lot of Sirius XM because I do a lot of driving, or I'm on the road or looking for something to do while I'm doing whatever, and always have an earbud in, listening to something in the background, multitasking just to kind of keep me racing at all times. And I just love it so much. But I tell you, Sirius XM, all of them said you won't be able to tell the difference in the 500 horsepower package. They're going 180. You're not going to be able to tell the difference in 180 and 190. Well, when it takes them 3.5 laps to get up to 180, you notice the difference. You hear the
Yeah.
sound when there's even when there's a pack of them, 3 wide, there wasn't that much 3 wide racing, but at Atlanta this time, and when there was, it wasn't for very long. Definitely not like Daytona or Talladega, but I think if they had more horsepower, there would be a little more separation. I'm not a fan of this configuration either. You could tell they just felt like they didn't sound they don't have the same RPM. They just sound like I was waiting for them to keep accelerating. They didn't shift into 4th gear or 5th gear, you know, maybe at all. So, I I'm with you on that one. Um, I got one more topic about the Cup race before we go on, but I'm curious to hear what Lee thinks now that you've heard both of ours. Did you
Yeah, so I have
think?
I have a unique sort of perspective on that. I probably only had one or two races on the previous configuration. While I do think that the name Atlanta is definitely better than Echo Park, I um, it cracks me up seeing the heated debate between the names, but I did notice kind of straight away with how much racing I did do at Echo Park, Atlanta, that it was very parade formation like. If there was passing going on, it was maybe one person. But if you went three wide at any point, it was not going to end well for either the person at the top or this person in the middle. And I don't necessarily know if that's because the car doesn't have enough horsepower to push that passer through the turn or specifically what would cause that situation, but it definitely led to what I think someone in a session I was in described it best as really fast pace laps. It was kind of how it
Mhm.
felt to drive the new configuration.
And not
Yeah.
not only for the guy on the outside or in the middle, but also for the 15 cars behind him.
Right. Exactly. Um, it's definitely uh a unique racing experience for me so far. And I think if I remember correctly, the couple races that I did in the old configuration was in the trucks, and I distinctly remember people going three wide all the time and just sending it through there. Um, but it just did not seem to be that way this week, and it just while while there was definitely the excitement of the accidents that showed up in my sessions, it just did not feel as energized as the old one was.
I I kind of agree there with what something that James was saying with in regards to the horsepower. I've heard it on a few of the podcasts. Is the point behind the horsepower being increased is more so for off throttle passing, giving the drivers the choice of lifting where they're going to lift in the corner because you have increased horsepower and your time off throttle, which creates your passing opportunities because you have different people lifting at different points or getting on it at different points and feeling differently in their car. And the fact that you're taking super speedway racing and you're cramming it into a track because super speedways traditionally to me are gigantic mammoth tracks that you just get in line and get up as fast as you can go, two wide, three wide, Talladega three wide at least, and you know it's pack racing. But when you put that on such a small track like Atlanta, where you like if you stretch out, it's technically uh, high speed racing in a traffic jam.
Yeah.
Probably the
Yes,
best
I
way to put it.
completely agree.
Yeah,
That's exactly how it felt.
Love
yeah,
well,
and
not
it
about
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Ant. No, you go.
I was gonna say it just seemed like you had to set your passes up 2 or 3 laps in advance. You'd see the guys draft up or get a bump and then just sling it to the bottom and kind of cut up and cut the air off the person behind them. And it was like it's like a hybrid intermediate track just with a super speedway package. And I don't know. Personally, I can't get behind it just because when you cram all these cars together, you're taking a lot of the skill out of the race, in my opinion, and you're making it chance based because it becomes the chance base of a super speedway, but you're on an intermediate track. So I, I'd like to see what they can change with it. I've heard the horsepowers being uh, checked out, like for R&D and stuff. They're going to try different things in the off season, but we'll see what comes of it. James, go ahead. You were going to make a point.
Oh, I was just gonna say, although I wasn't mad about the winner in the Cup Series, along with Michael Harris checking in on YouTube. We see you, Michael. Um, I also agree with my buddy Michael Harris, who um, says that the old Atlanta track was way better and high horsepower and created some great racing. I remember being there for my first NASCAR race ever at the Alan Cole Wiki Polish Victory Lap when Gordon's first race. So many things happened, and it was one of the my first introductions to cold beer as a high school senior. So I was maybe a little late to the cold beer game, but I had some buddies that were a little older than me and had extra tickets. So that's a fond memory. I think we should bring that layout back.
For sure.
Never know.
Um,
I don't make the rules.
James,
I hope they do something.
yeah, exactly. Go ahead, man. I want you to go ahead and do your this week in motorsports topic.
That's the Cup race. There was so much going on. Formula One in Justin's honor will be my in real life racing. Just a quick synopsis. Did either of you catch it? Lee, do you watch F1?
I do not watch F1, but I'll see the drama on Facebook posts on occasion.
Yeah, there's always some drama. Sometimes you have to look for it. The drama is not always in the starting grid and the finish. But Max Verstappen, who's won I think 5 races this season, I was not mad when he got taken out in turn one, lap one by a dive bomb move from a back marker. So the points leader gets out in first lap and he's crying at his home track on his way back to the pits.
Jeez.
And then, yeah, it was all the haters, but McLaren had a 1-2 out front, start to finish. Um, Williams had a double DNF, which is unfortunate for Carlos Sainz. JT, if you're listening out there, man, this is for you. Um, yeah, good on Lando and Oscar Piastri for not wrecking each other. They raced a little bit in the first 10 or 15 laps, but once pit cycle started, they decided to back it off a little bit. No, they were never under threat. Ferrari was third and fourth, 10 seconds back, and then everybody else is fighting for scraps. Sauber, who never scores points, there's a rookie finished inside the top 10 for the first time, so that was kind of cool to see Bordelelli. I know I just butchered his name. Get some points for the first time, and once again, I'm not mad that the Toro Rosso, Red Bull's junior team, is knocking the socks off of the Red Bull senior team. So that's a lot, but that's a Cliff's Notes version of the F1 race. There was still a lot of good racing, some crashes at the A1 ring, Red Bull ring in Austria. So if you haven't, you know that track, I know all the Road Series guys out there. It's a love-hate relationship. A lot of elevation changes and hard places to pass, but it takes a lot of discipline to be fast at that track, and especially in the F1. The F1 race is worth a watch.
Uh, Lee, let's get you in on this, man. Do you have something you'd like to talk about over the last week?
Sure. Well, it popped up on my feed a couple of times, and I think I saw a little bit of clips here and there, but I believe the Craftsman trucks are over at Lime Rock Park for the first time this past week. I saw videos of the semis coming in carrying the trucks and family with their little girl on the side of the road, and the truck drivers were throwing t-shirts out at them. Um, and it just seemed like a really unique track to have the trucks at. I don't know if they had been there previously. I don't watch too much of real life racing just because of my own schedule. But that's definitely a race that I think I will watch back later this week just to see how that looked as a whole because it just seemed interesting to me from the sidelines. I think we had someone from the league that was actually there this past weekend, if I remember correctly, but it seemed like a popular track and configuration.
And you've
Yeah.
raced Lime Rock and the iRacing, right?
Yeah, oh man, it was a while ago. I think I did the Formula V's there.
Oh, okay. We've had a couple of GT4 races when it was GT4 only, and I think we had a fun run there also one time where we ran a different layout. I think iRacing has 3 or 4 layouts, and there's a couple of really fun sections of the
Yeah,
track. And yes, um, I believe Ty Williams was there actually working. He was on the clock getting paid the pit crew for a racer, and as he does as his real life job.
that's awesome.
And Michael Harris was there as a spectator, taking pictures, sending pictures, posting pictures on the Real Racing thread, pictures and videos. So I'm hoping Michael Harris can chime in on YouTube, and he does. They have not had the Craftsman series there before, but several truck type series like the trucks at the track in the past. So, oh, that's right. They had like a S10 Beck S10 or something, I think.
Mhm.
SCCA, but possibly more. I believe it was a historic sports car event, or maybe I don't think maybe SCCA, either SVRA, a combination with I think the ARCA cars were there too.
Yeah, that was the configuration that I was aware of during the week, or at least this past week, was that you had the ARCAs that were there. At least on the iRacing side, you had the ARCAs and you had the Craftsman trucks that were both running Lime Rock for that week. And I tried both, and the trucks was definitely harder than the Arca, in my opinion, but it was also a different configuration. A lot of people were spitting out at the top of the hill because they had their foot down too far on the gas pedal. I may be raising my own hand there. But I ran the Arca there as well, and that seemed to go a lot better. But it was also I believe it was the Grand Prix configuration where instead of going up the hill, you get the little chicane that goes up the hill, so you're not going quite as fast, but you still have to be careful to keep the rear end down as you're going up. Definitely fun configurations.
Yeah, there's a
Be
young.
be an interesting track to see if the Cup car can run at one of these seasons.
Oh no,
That's a fun
you like
race, maybe.
handle Watkins Glen. What makes you think you can handle Lime Rock?
Hey man, just some inside information here. I've had that car scooting around Bathurst, and I've had it around Suzuka. So don't be surprised if some tracks start showing up.
When are we doing it at Spa? Come on.
Yeah, I've seen a Spa it was a hosted race, but I've seen those things out at Spa. Heck, they had the Nürburgring setup up, the Ringmeister setup for the car last season. So this car can go a lot of places, and I feel like it's just fun to get it out on these tracks where they don't traditionally go. Um, all right, so you guys have heard the voice that's been talking here. I don't have the slide up just yet because we didn't start the guest segment. We just figured we'd have him in to talk a little bit. But if you haven't figured it out yet, we got Lee Winters here with us. Lee just started back in April with the league. He started out in the truck series and worked his way over to Cup just recently. So getting his feet wet there out at Pocono over the weekend. Lee, welcome onto the show. How's the league been treating you so far, man?
Well, thank you for having me, guys. The league has been treating me very, very well. is definitely surpassed my expectations. I greatly appreciate the work that goes on in the background to get all the streams up and running, and the presentation that goes on with the voice himself. Um, it's definitely a spectacle to behold, both on the spectator side and the track side, because I've done both. I will run the race on Friday or Sunday, and I will watch the VOD within like the next day or two, as uh, something to burn a little bit of time. But it's definitely unique to see a race from both sides like that, and I feel like some leagues that I've encountered so far don't really have the reach in both good driver side experience and viewer experience. And I feel like that you guys have a really good balance of that. Not to mention the people that are actually racing and spectating between the series.
Oh dang! Now I do have to watch out when I get in the league. I got to drive really super cautious and nice around you.
Well, I appreciate it.
Or would you change it
d-
up now?
yeah, yeah. I appreciate the screenshot. I believe you provided the screenshot to
Yes,
put in
yes, I
there.
did.
As I was asking you about the how the league is treating you, and then I forgot this was a screenshot, and I flip it over. I'm like, huh.
Yep.
um, well, that's awesome, man. So you hopped into our truck series, and like I said, you just recently started dipping your toes in the cup. But as we talked about prior to the podcast going live, your aspirations don't stop there. You talked about setting goals for yourself. You want to share with us again, and this time with the YouTube universe, kind of where you want to go with the sim racing side of things, especially from a league aspect and iRacing in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always had a attachment to esports, aside from sim racing. Sim racing wasn't something that I started until February of this year. Before that, my earliest experience with the steering wheel was my father buying a old Gran Turismo Logitech gear-driven wheel while I was on my learner's permit and saying, "Hey, use this instead of driving the car that's in the driveway." And let's just say I put in over 120 hours of American Trucking Simulator before I even got my permit. Um, on that direct drive wheel that was louder than the next door neighbor with a dirt bike. But um, I had that experience with the wheel, and I originally was trying to do esports as a means of paying for college. Um, I wasn't really given the opportunity to get much scholarship opportunities, so I was trying to work through what I could do for myself. And while I never got attached to physical sports, as soon as I found that there was a scene for competitively playing video games at the time, it was something that I attached myself to, and that started like a 2-year long career in Rocket League where I played with a whole bunch of cool people um, over in a community league that had run for a long time, and met a lot of great people there. I was actually a general manager of one of their franchises at one point, so I would start and run tryouts. I'd pick teams, and I'd work through the interpersonal stuff and build people up throughout the week. So I got a lot of experience on the back end side of this organization,
Mm.
of esports management. And over time, my hands got like really tired on the controller. And I was just looking for something else to try. Um, I had found a bit more time than what I was used to having. Um, After acquiring my associate's degree a couple of years ago. And I decided, you know what? Let me look into if there's a better option than a gear-driven Logitech wheel that is really, really loud. So that kind of spiraled and snowballed into, the Lee Winters as before you today. I did mess around between iRacing and Assetto Corsa for a little bit. Assetto Corsa isn't really my style because of the UI, Um, and but as soon as I got my foot in the door with iRacing, I was hooked almost like immediately. I picked up a Moza R3 bundle and I drove. Well, the first series that I drove was one the was it the Dirt 2 light trucks over at Wild West Park, and I think it was my second or third race over there. I got my first win on iRacing within the first day of having it in those trucks. Um, and I sort of ran through that adrenaline and ended up turning that into dirt oval racing, where I had, I think it was over 1,135 laps of dirt oval racing within the first quarter. And that was like within, I think it was a month and a half. So by the time that season one ended this year, I had already put in so many laps in dirt oval. Um, but I made a shift over to asphalt oval just because I felt more attached to it. I initially had a friend that I was driving with, and he was sort of showing me around. And we originally did oval racing, and my opinion afterwards was, yeah, this is kind of boring. Um, I'm not really sure if I actually enjoy this or not. Um, and I did endurance racing for a little bit over in a separate league for a while. And then I came back to oval racing. And it was after I had put hours and hours into the GT3s, I ran the Audi for a long time, that I sat back down in an oval car and went, this is a lot more exciting and a lot less stressful than what I was used to at a GT3. Because as you would famously know, NASCAR is about turning left. Not much else um, technique wise beyond that at its core. You don't have to worry about turning right too much unless you're doing a street course. But as soon as it was very clear to me that I had an aspiration for NASCAR and was performing relatively well for the amount of experience that I had, I wanted to expand on that um, and explore leagues. And that's kind of how I stumbled upon Midwest Motorsports, and I started racing with the Truck Series. But at least recently, I've got my experience with the trucks. I've greatly enjoyed my experience with the guys that race the trucks, and I wanted to make a shift over to the Cup Series car, mainly because much it is a much different animal than what the trucks are, in my opinion. And I think that's because of the speed factor alone. Um, and I would love to eventually work my way within the Cups, or excuse me, not the Cup Series, the Coke Series once they figure out the Road to Pro stuff next year. But that is a overly ambitious goal. But I am very familiar with my ambitious goals, and it's at least something that I can work for and strive for.
Yeah, and that's a everybody has to have goals. I know I told James a while back that I have my goals are basically to get so many top tens or top fives in a season. I never set a goal for a win just because I don't put enough time in to actually like get the feeling that I could win any race I step into. But usually it's top fives or top tens for me. You were talking about some of the equipment you started off with, being a gear driven Logitech and such. I imagine you upgraded that over time. What are you running right now for equipment?
Yeah, so I am running a very different setup than what I had run back in the day when I was getting my learner's permit. I am running a much bigger monitor now. I'm running a 31-inch semi-curved uh, MSI monitor that goes up to 165 hertz. and I have a Moza R3 kit. I actually have both the circular wheel and the formula wheel that I will switch back and forth depending on what I want to do. And then, I got the good old headset microphone, and I even picked up a fan in front of me because when I get racing, I get super sweaty, guys. There's not much else that I can do. I also have a pair of dirt bike gloves that I picked up that gives me a little bit extra grip on the wheel. It's a very comfortable setup to be able to sit down and race in. And a unique problem that I ran into when I was doing the endurance racing was that once I was in a car for, I think the longest race that I did up to that point was maybe like an hour at most. And I decided one night, you know what? Let me just try a 3 hour and see how it goes. I think it was from like 8 until 11 at night. And by the end of that, my lower back was shot. uh,
Mm.
and I partially blame my chair, but I had talked with some folks. I think it was over on the iRacing Discord about solutions or possible things that I could try, and I got a lumbar cushion now, but I never had those types of issues since then. So it's definitely my setup has definitely been touched by those that sim race regularly and what works for them.
Yeah. Just so you know, if you ever want to post a picture of that sim racing rig you have, we do have a channel down under the text channels #rig pics that everybody normally will post a rig picture in there, what they're running. So feel free to show that thing off, especially since you put time into it and money, of
Yeah,
course. But
I just got to get my desk service cleared off here because I, I work, I do school assignments, and I race from the exact same desk, so it's a bit crowded.
multi-purpose dashboard. I like it.
Basically, yes. Yep. I got the 31-inch in front of me, and then I got a vertical on my left. So it's very focused, but also multi-purpose
Yeah. And that's the best kind, the multi-purpose ones.
for sure.
Um, James, buddy, go ahead and hop on in here and ask a question if you want.
Well, since our CEO of Midwest Motorsports, Justin Thaler, is out checking on his family, and we hope everything works out. We're thinking about you guys, all the Thaler family. Um, I want to ask the question that we usually leave to the CEO, since he's the one that takes note and writes the polls and everything. You know, we're glad you found Midwest Motorsports first and foremost, and uh, don't make a liar out of us. But you've been great so far. We're glad to have you. I think this is the record for like 2 races in, and you're already on the podcast. But um, I've you haven't been here long enough, maybe, to know all the ins and outs. But Justin likes to ask what people would change or what they like or what they don't like. So if there's anything you like or don't like first, and then if you were the CEO of Midwest Motorsports and could change, Justin, really the whole league as a group of people that work on all of the rules, and as the rules evolve, you know, we make sure that we consider all of our valued members because we want to keep everybody racing to keep having fun. We really do pride ourselves in having a good, fun league. Um, what do you like most about it, and then what would you change? What if you were the king?
Ah, that is a heavy question. Um,
No pressure.
absolutely zero. Um, I honestly, what I like about it is the people. There is such a wide variety of folks that I have met and talked with here, whether that's in the race chatter or that I've heard over um, the race voice channels themselves. Definitely a lot from different backgrounds, age groups, and life experiences. And I feel like when I came here, it was very obvious that you all are here to express your love for sim racing, iRacing, and just a racing community with each other. I think that's what I like about it the most, because that's one of the things that's really hard to get from my experience so far, with interacting with leagues and communities, especially as someone new that is fresh to this and does not know the inner workings of how certain leagues are organized. Um, what I would do different? Um, hmm,
I know you don't really have enough, multiple seasons or even
yeah, I
what
guess
have 4
I
races in it, but and
yeah, I guess to kind of dip my toes in the water, um, I do appreciate that you guys have multiple offerings of different leagues, so that you got a cup series that goes on, you got the truck series, and you even got your road course series that goes on. Um, the the little dirt racer inside me wants some kind of dirt series. That I gotta be honest. I know it's pretty niche and that iRacing has shown it a little bit of love, but not as much as, brand new cars or courses in a long time. But I think that would be kind of interesting to see. There are not many, there are not many leagues that will go out, organize a dirt series, and then broadcast it. That's often something that's just run in like a hosted event or something like that. Not to bash on hosted events at all. There's just a different element when you can have a sort of racing history that you can see that isn't just a replay file that, even as we found out recently, is apparently temporary when they retire some of the old configurations. Um, but that's kind of my thought.
yeah, you're not alone. I think that's been in the league recommendations thread more than once to have just a different series. Um, it's been pretty clear that we're pretty much at our max as far as bandwidth goes on the admin that it takes to run with having a clear defined set of rules when you start keeping score over a period of time, all the rules matter and the details matter, and then the consistency reflects on your history, and you live or die by what's on paper,
Absolutely.
right? So,
Yeah,
um, but you're not alone, and so it's not lost on us as a group of Midwest Motorsports. I'm not a voting member, but I do listen to some of the discussions, and I see how much work goes on, and I understand and appreciate how complicated it already is to add another long time series. For now, it's not on the 3-year plan, maybe 5-year plan, depending on who you ask. But we are looking forward to expanding our special races seasons, and having more special events on off weeks, and those are going to be broadcast more often. And also during the off season, I think Trevor Mack is hosting another $50 All Star race for guys that win, and there's going to be an open for opportunity for those that haven't won to get in, having to be a league member and all that. So anyway, there's a lot going on with what we got, and but it's often suggested everybody's got their favorite league that they want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just shows the love for iRacing that's out there in our league, and the diversity that we have that you pointed out with age groups and
absolutely. And I'm not bashing on, the availability that you guys currently have. You guys have a wide variety of stuff going on throughout the week. It's just something that came to mind as like I could. but definitely not a should and have to. So
Yeah, we asked the question. That's you. We wanted your answer. It's a good
yeah.
one. You got alone. Yeah.
All
Right on.
right. With that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the guest segment here. Lee, we really appreciate you taking some time out of your night to sit down and kind of talk with us. Although we just scratched the surface really of getting to know you and everything. Um, the way you're racing, I see you going for a win here soon in either cups or trucks, and we'd like to have you back after that happens. That way we can pick at you a little bit more and get to know a little bit more about you. All right.
Yep, well, I'll be working on Watkins Glen for next week. We'll see how that goes. But I appreciate you guys having me and talking with me this week. Definitely appreciate the love on stream over at Pocono. And I definitely look forward to continuing the race in the Cup Series.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining
Hey,
us.
oh, sorry, James. Good.
Oh, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate you coming in. Thanks for being a fun member of the league.
Appreciate it.
Same. I'll see you out the Glen, man.
See ya.
All right. So that was Lee Winters, driver of the 45 in the Truck and Cup Series. Seems like a really good guy. I haven't got to race with him yet this season, so hopefully at the Glen it's first time, and I won't have to ruffle any feathers since he seems like a really nice guy. So
Yeah. From what I've
go
seen,
ahead.
he was super respectful, and like I say, we have a short sample size right now with just Pocono on the Cup side, but enjoyed him. He was by himself down in the race chatter, so I pulled him up during one of the many pacing laps, but we'll get to that later on when we get to the Cup Series.
All right. Speaking of getting on to different things, we're going to go ahead and start into the road series here that was out at Bathurst, or Mount Panorama, as the iRacing affectionately, calls it, the mountain. Anybody who has access to the road series chat, just go through like the last week of messages. There's a lot of funny pictures and stuff in there. The one I really appreciated was the Steve Irwin crikey with the cars coming down the hill. So,
Yes.
again, anybody has access to that, always a good time. Go ahead, hop in there, take a look around, and throw up some laugh emojis. But James, without further ado, man, I'm going to let you hop into the breakdown here.
Man, there's not enough time in the podcast to talk about the madness. If you know, you know. If you were there, you were part of it. And I think everybody, with the exception of the top 3, maybe the top 5 in the GT3s, was going backwards on the track at one point, whether by their own doing or by the concrete walls at the top of the mountain, or maybe even turn 1, um, or pit entrance, or who knows. There was so much chaos. I really think that the broadcast, we couldn't do justice what 40 cars were doing out there. So again, forgive me for being a relatively short review, but I definitely think that 40 cars started, and I think maybe 39 finished. So a lot of credit to everybody that was in it for knowing what was going to happen going in, thinking that you were prepared for it, and then I don't know if it's the road tire model or the warm up or the surface, the track itself, concrete walls. There was opportunity to practice, and I think everybody did, but those concrete barriers, whether it's the tunnel of love that I call it at the top of the mountain, that the barriers are a foot off of the track, and or the gravel trap at the chase. Lots of opportunity for mistakes and trying too hard and getting used to it. I think the track temperature changed right at the start, because nobody expected. So I don't think anybody was prepared for the first lap, as there were multiple spins. on the lap one. Congratulations. I tell you, the GT3 race was insane with Justin Flagg. Although he led flag to almost flag, I guess he's always flag to flag. If your name is Justin Flagg, are you always flag to flag when the race is over? That's a question. I'm not sure. Maybe YouTube can chime in on that. Until the last lap, and then second and third took over. Who was racing? I know Jason Phillips came home second. I am so idiotic right now. My mind's going blank. They passed Ryan Cabiltas, and that kind of spread things out a little bit as well. And do you have the screen up, the finishers? Hello, Ant? Okay, Ant's having difficulty. He's had storms coming through. So I might be on my own on the broadcast. I've got it. I just got to find it. But again, kudos to everybody. For racing it. It was crazy. Sorry to yeah, Jason Phillips came home with the win. Jack Lucas. And then Justin Flagg. It was Jack Lucas that my mind was going blank. So Lee Beluga's gonna kill me. I'm sorry, Jack. Please accept my apology. Brought home the wart paint in P2, but Jason Phillips was putting pressure on Justin Flagg for the whole race, followed him in the pit lane, both stops, and Jack Lucas was able to get past him as well after Justin Flagg hit the wall on the last lap and had a hard time bringing it home. During the broadcast, I said he ran out of fuel, but he was actually nursing a very sick car home. You back with me, Ant?
Yes, I am, sir.
All right. Storm's rolling through. Are you okay?
Oh yeah, all good. The storm's just passing through here.
Okay. Well, I just gave the best road recap I could. Again, apologies to Jack Lucas. My mind went blank. But Justin Flagg hit the barrier on the wall, coming to the white flag. But he had like a 30-second lead over fourth place, Mauricio Parada. So he was able to nurse it home, but he lost from leading flag to flag. You must not have heard my question. My question was, if your name is Justin Flagg, are you always a flag to flag when you cross the line at the end?
Aha, I see what you did there.
And again, congrats to Ron Cabiltas for bringing home the AM division, the GT4s. He also had a very interesting final lap, bouncing off the wall, trying to let the GT3 cars go. And if you haven't seen Cars and Coffee, Jesse Coffee's YouTube channel, you should check it out. There's quite a few shorts that have some dark horse Mustangs being launched through a cloud of smoke. Jesse does a good job of clipping those too. But yeah, that was not Ron Cabilta's fault. Jesse actually lost a couple spots during that exchange, trying to make sure that he didn't take out Ron. James Zengi and Troy Neeson, Nick Moffitt, Rick Bundren, man, they were racing through the whole race. It was a lot of fun to watch. Again, I wish we could have done more for them. And I guess my honorable mention is going to be Cody Height, and for making it through one of his stronger finishes in the AM division, not to mention Zach Alexander, your points leader, having trouble spinning out, hitting the wall, coming back through the field, then hitting the wall again and spinning out. Took it on the chin, didn't place any blame, didn't do anything crazy, did a good job of looking at the relative to make he didn't rejoin at Mount Bathurst. That's hard.
For sure. It's good to see Rick Bundren, Ron Kabiltis pull off a win. I know a lot of the broadcasts I've been watching, he's pulling in some second places, so good to see him get a win out of it. And another one you normally see running in the top 3 is that Jason Phillips, so good to see that as well.
You call him Flash Flag. We see you, Justin, man. Great racing, tough break. But a lot of fun. Full credit to all them guys, man. It's for Jason Phillips, Justin Flagg, and Jack Lucas to be able to do 60 minutes of qualifying laps without hitting the wall. In Justin's case, with only hitting the wall once. Kudos, especially under pressure. Jason Phillips was not. He was not ever more than 2 or 3 seconds behind going through 15 GT4 cars at the same time. So, mad credit to all of them guys. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's a tough track for sure. Whoever had the idea to basically put a curvy roadway in a mountain and then race on it definitely wasn't thinking in the right mind, but it's fun for everybody else to watch.
That's right. Yeah. Go check out the carnage for yourself on the YouTube replay. It was a lot of fun. Adam and I did we had a lot of fun. I hope we did it justice.
Yeah. So Road Series is off to Suzuka International Racecourse, the Grand Prix layout tomorrow. You guys are going live in the YouTube about 7:25, 7:28.
Yep, usually it's about 7:25. And
awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm just kind of skimming through the Road Series chat, and it's looking like people are having cars that don't want to turn. Somebody posted that the Porsche is a boat, so that's not normally the case. The Porsche is usually pretty nimble, so interested in seeing if it's a track or if it's the setup with the track temperature and stuff that's making it hard to turn. Somebody driving the vet also chimed in saying that it was also a boat, so it should be pretty interesting to see how the racing turns out at Suzuka.
And watch
I'm
out.
gonna watch out for
Tempest might get in on this one.
Ooh, yeah. Tempest, if the Tempest is in on this one. Oh, now it's static.
Oh, darn. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you never.
No monsoons.
We have to see. We still have to see, right? Okay, no monsoons, but.
Yeah.
No
did you go through the points, James, already?
No, I did not look at the points.
So I'll hit that real quick. We'll go through the pro here real quick. So Mike Odell is leading so far in the points. Jason Phillips, 41 points behind Mike Odell with Justin Flagg, 193 points behind the leader in third. Chase Fincher, 314 points back. Justin Taylor there, top 5 in the points, 382 back. The rest of the top 10's up on the screen there. I don't believe we have started the drop races. I believe that's after Suzuka. Those will start. So these points could get jumbled up quite a bit by then.
Yeah, and I think, the drops. You're absolutely
right. AMP series points. Zach Alexander's leading. Nick Aslan, 237 points behind. In second, Ron Kabiltas, 403 points back. Nick Moffitt, 412 points back from the lead in fourth, and James Zangy, 450 points back in fifth. The rest of the top 10 is also on the screen there. Again, drop races haven't been taken into account yet. Should be after Suzuka, and which will most likely jumble this up a little. I don't see the top changing too much because Zach's been pretty consistent throughout the season. But second
Malpractice.
place down. Uh, what was that bit?
Zach did not have a great finish at Mount Bathurst, but
Ah, darn.
yeah, it's all good. Lots of racing left. Don't worry.
Yep. We'll see how everything goes out at Suzuka. Remember, guys, tomorrow, 7:25 broadcast should go live. If you guys are subscribed and you have the little notification bell ticked at YouTube, you should get a notification letting you know when they go live. So, little tip there for anybody that hasn't done it yet. Trucks went out to the Worldwide Technology Raceway out in St. Louis, I believe. It looks like number 11 came away with the win on that one, but to get to the point of him crossing the line, how'd that race work out there, James? Did that one have any hiccups or any kind of crazy finishes to it?
You know, there was a little bit of a light turnout. I mean, it's great. Every race at Midwest Motorsports is great. Mostly because of the racers and the trucks. Um, they, for the most part, I want to say kept it clean, but you have some experience at Gateway, right?
Oh yeah, it's a tricky track.
It is with 1 and 2 being tight, 3 and 4. That when they were shifting in 1 and 2, the fast guys were. Tire degradation was the name of the game, of course, as it always is. So learning how to drive the brake bias is always important as the stint goes. And really, I was surprised at how much side by side racing there was. Um, with only 15 or 17 trucks in total, it really took 4 laps for the first 3 rows to settle single file. Now, I know that's with cold tires and, um, everybody's got it figured out right after qualifying. Um, but yeah, it was really a pretty good race. I'm not going to go through every single caution because do you have the total number of cautions, or can you have that?
I'm sure I can get it while you
Okay.
talk real quick.
Yeah, and it truly was just. It wasn't really even arguing over real estate. It was more, especially on this right at the end of the fuel run, usually about the time for a pit stop. 2 guys get crossed up, um, and so then everybody gets to come in and not have to decide on green flag stops. They want to come in or not. So, uh, which I don't blame them. It's just a product of the racing. So, I think like 30 laps on a tank. Not 100% sure, but it was a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to call. More
Yeah,
caution and more pacing than I would like. How many cautions do we have?
I'm still pulling that info. That's
Sorry.
no, you're good. I'm just going to pull it straight from the streaming PC.
But the top 3, um, oh, that's right. We had a couple of
What?
new guys, Marcus Levery and his dad, Robert. I'm probably still butchering his last name. Sorry, guys. They're from Ireland, and um, I believe it may have been their second event. And Marcus um, was working on a top 3 because there was a caution that came out near the end. Um, maybe I think we have to invite Trevor Mack to the podcast to help me out with the truck series racing. I know it was only 3 days ago. Don't laugh, but
No, you're good, buddy.
it's hard to remember all the details. But it was a lot of fun. And again, I don't have favorites, but I think it would have been a fun thing to talk about one of our new guys getting a podium in his first or second race.
Yeah, that's a pretty big accomplishment, especially with the strength of field being the way it is. I know Dustin's normally a top 3 guy and you pair that with Nick Aslan. You got both the Thaler boys down there, Mike Scamilla. There's definitely some skill you see in the truck series side of things. So getting a podium down there, especially in your first couple of weeks, it's definitely something you can brag about a little bit.
At Gateway, especially, not not that you luck into any race, but um, and then also, a- again, sorry, I'm a little distracted, but trying to find Marcus Libraries areas history.
So with that track being the way it's set up to be, where turns 1 and 2 are different than 3 and 4. That's similar to another track that we have on the schedule normally. Uh, is it Motegi that comes to mind that kind of has the
Yep.
differing turns there, 3 and 4, 1 and 2.
It's very
And
similar to Motegi. Darlington also is kind of egg shaped, for lack of a better term,
uh,
but really small. I'd say this is more like a small Motegi, but with like Martinsville banking, maybe.
a little bit flatter, yeah. Yeah, I always kind of compare the two. If you could get around worldwide technology, normally you can find your way around Motegi almost as well. Um, Strange to see that Motegi isn't on our schedule this season. Normally it is, but
I
while you're good.
no, I was just gonna say I found Marcus's stats, and Atlanta he started 18th, finished 15th in his first race. Second race was Gateway, started 10th, finished 4th, and with a shot to be second. I think he restarted on the second row, couldn't quite hold off Justin Thaler and Jason Phillips.
Well, that's still a pretty good resume for only a few races in. Um, but like we talked about, Dustin Rhinestone ended up coming out with the win out there at WWT. Points are up on the screen right now. You got Mike Scamilla in the lead with a 1 point difference between him and Justin Thaler. 10 points back is Dustin Rhinestone in third. James Olavison pulling in the top 5 in points right now. Fourth place, 35 points back from the leader. He's putting on a strong season.
Yes, he is.
Ian Silva there, rounding out the top 5 in points, 40 points back from the lead, and Nick Aslan, 43 points back in sixth.
Both of
From
those
there, he's go ahead, bud.
I'm sorry, Ant. Both of those guys were missing from the Gateway.
Ryan Newman and Nick Aslan were missing.
Yeah, exactly.
So we of course haven't dropped started the drop races. We got a ways to go in the truck series. I believe we're like halfway through the season right now, or we're approaching halfway. Trucks, you guys are off this Friday for the 4th of July, of course. So have some fun, launch some fireworks. Keep your hands away from them. That way, you can still race whenever you guys come back next Friday for Watkins Glen. So we're doing a little switcheroo here on the schedule. So trucks, you guys aren't going to Watkins Glen until next week. We'll move on to the Cup Series. All right, buddy?
Yeah, sure. Once again, check out the replay. There was so much action. Trevor McLaughlin joined me, and the broadcast was a lot of fun. Talked about all the stuff that I forgot to mention on the podcast.
Which there's so much stuff to recap in these. If we actually sat down and recap the entire race, we'd be having a 3-hour podcast. Ty Williams, from the picture here, it looks like he brought home the win out at the Tricky Triangle of Pocono. I believe that's back-to-back seasons. Last season, I believe he got the win out at Pocono. So he must really like the track or something.
He had to earn it. He was not leading for very long. Actually, we can start earlier in the race. I do the same thing with the interviews. Ask them about the finish first, and then I ask them how we got there after the fact. Um, but um, you know, with the Cup cars too, I was surprised a little bit smaller of a turnout than I like to see, but I was expecting more green flag racing, and definitely once again with the short pit stop, it seems like there were more single car spins at Pocono this race, and I know you've had good luck at Pocono before, top fives, I think, in the past. Um, what do you remember about Pocono? And again, single car spins, three corners. There's no turn four, and they're all very different.
Yeah, I was kind of you kind of caught me off guard there when you said single car spins. I was trying to figure out where on the track uh some of those single car spins would be happening. Whether it's maybe turn 3 would probably be the one place coming out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, ask Sean Cunningham um, towards the end of the race. And apologies for the broadcast. OBS crashed as we are coming to the checkers um, with the side by side finish for second, but that is all good. Sean Cunningham coming to the white, maybe the lap before the two to go. Um, got in the gas coming out of turn three, and it looked like he was Barney taking a hard left into the pit lanes. Luckily, missed the delineators, but we were coming to the flag, so I couldn't break away from Justin Taylor and
Dustin, right?
Dustin Reinstedt coming to the flag um, for bragging rights for second place. So yeah, I felt bad for Sean Cunningham, but really it was turn one. I was off the corners every time. Jason Huffman went around twice coming out of turn one. Um, I think Robert Olafson, Norm Snyder, and then when somebody's in the front, top five, top seven, in a 18 car field with a couple of pit lane starters, somebody spinning, getting on power coming out of the corner. Uh, you got guys behind there going, 100 plus miles an hour, fourth gear, trying to get all they can out of the corner, and you know, Pocono being such a big track, there were cars going left and right, trying to dodge them, and then that starts their own tank slapper that gets cars collected. So there were multiple cars pushing other cars 90 degrees to each other. So
Hmm.
it handed them a cup of coffee off the nose of the car. Um, watch the broadcast if you get a chance. Again, it was a lot of fun. Jason Huffman, Corbin Flickenstein, once again, I think everybody had an opportunity to go around at least once, face the wrong direction, except Justin Reinstell, I think, still finished with a 0X. Ty Williams may have also finished with a 0X. And Justin Taylor, I don't think he did.
Nope. It looks like Ty, Dustin, Trevor McLaughlin, Aaron Holroyd are the only ones who finished with a 0X.
Aaron Holroyd had a nice four wide pass that he's proud of and should be commended for. I thought Aaron was going to work it out too with only, again, Pocono being such a long track, 53 seconds, I think, was the pole time on new tires. They were looking at 55s to 57s on second, even third stint, only three sets of tires on the wall. 15 laps on a tank. So you can imagine fuel strategy is always as an option to be a factor. And then where the yellows fall. Ty Williams, there was a yellow that came at lap 59. So lap 60 was the pit lap. In order to make it to lap 80, he needed to stop at 65 in order to make it all the way. So I think it was Trevor McLaughlin and Ty Williams both pitted at lap 60 and were either clutching or saving, hoping for a yellow. And a couple other guys, after pitting a lap 60, came in at lap 65 to pit, keep the short time stopped in the pit lane, which I thought was a great strategy. I thought for sure Ty Williams and Trevor were going to run out of fuel, and then a caution comes out with like 8 to go. So they get to not get away with one less stop. Ty Williams was able to hold off Lee because he gets to jump at a restart, obviously. And then it was Lee Winters, who I thought had a chance to hang on because he was on the inside lane, which was harder to hang on the outside lane last night at Pocono, I think. So I think restarting on the inside lane was an advantage last night. So odd numbers. And then, but couldn't hold off Justin Thaler and Dustin Reinstedel. I'm not sure even Ant Castor could have held off Justin Thaler and Dustin Reinstedel for second and third. But yeah, it was a lot of fun watching them race coming to the flag. Ty Williams got 2 or 3 seconds up the road by the time Dustin and Justin were around Lee and fighting for position. Coming to the flag, last corner, last lap, got him.
Wait a second.
Interview afterwards.
Did I just hear you say something about you didn't think even Ant Castor could hold off Justin Thaler and Dustin Reinstedel
What?
from second place?
I don't know.
You not know the history of that 8 and 2 car? That bumper would have been wider than Pocono's front stretch.
You're right. It's pretty wide. You known for having a wide bumper, Ant? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Only when the two's behind me. That track gets a little narrow, a little hard to pass.
Yeah, right on. Well, maybe that's we should have taught Lee when we were talking to him earlier today.
Yeah, anytime you see the two, just widen that bumper out a little. Elbows out.
Elbows up. Great race. It was a
yeah.
lot of fun. And Eric Thaler got at least 45 degrees of yaw sideways twice. Michael Samia had bad luck. Everybody was spinning out in front of him. Made an awesome zig and a zag to avoid some carnage. Jason Huffman, once again, worst luck ever. I gave Clarence Prince and probably at least 2 other cars. Norm Snyder gave Norm the broadcaster's curse. And with only 17 cars in there, chances are I'm going to be talking with you at one point. So can't blame it all on you guys. I'm just going to throw that out there. You can't blame it all on the broadcast.
Yep. This one kind of hurt. I got to go into a practice session again. Thanks, Mike Scamilla, for putting up a practice Saturday night. I had a really, really good feeling getting around Pocono. Had fuel all figured out, had tire wear all figured out, and just couldn't make it. Fatherly duties came up. So it's a shame. I love Pocono. Like you said, I always have some pretty good luck there. So it always hurts to see this one on the schedule and not get to race there. But glad Ty got to go out there, stretch his legs a little bit, and there was actually a pretty tight finish there for the top 3. So glad everybody got to go there and have some fun. It's a fun course, even though it can get a little drawn out and bland. If everybody starts following, or you get like 9, 8, 7-second gaps between the cars. But it's a fun one to get around. I'll assure you that one. So good turnout, guys.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody for showing up. Let's do it again. We go to Watkins Glen next week.
Yep. And for anybody who wants to practice Watkins Glen, there's going to be a couple sessions going up this week. Just keep an eye out for an announcement. I'll drop it in the Cup channel. We are running the regular NASCAR layout, no boot, like we ran last season. So it'll be a good road race. For anybody that just does not show up for the road races, I implore you to at least show up for the practices and just get around Watkins Glen. It's a great track, fun track to drive. especially in this cup car, having to muscle it through the bus stop and down through the carousel, and just turn one in that car is rewarding when you hit it right. So, if you really like racing and the spirit of racing, hop into one of these practice sessions before you decide not to run in this. It's a great track.
Once again,
So,
a lot of
good,
fun.
buddy. Yeah. Um, Points. Sean Cunningham is leading the points. He's got a couple wins this season. Trevor McLaughlin is.
Sorry,
What's that?
Ann, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
There you
I
go,
didn't
bud.
mean to interrupt you there, but if anybody wants to send a get well soon card to the 71 of Sean Cunningham, he still might be at the infield care center with a concussion. They might not let him out because his turn coming off of turn 4. I mean, he didn't lift. I think there were 3 laps to go, and I'm zooming in down the front stretch, looking at the nose of the car, and I see a car go hard left, smoke coming, and then kablamo. So, then your thoughts and prayers to Sean Cunningham and his family during his recovery.
Well, that is actually a good thing to interrupt on. Get well soon, Sean. Those barrels are going to need it too. So we got Sean Cunningham again in the lead, couple wins this season, recovering from a concussion for the Glen. Trevor McLaughlin, 6 points back in second. Justin Thaler, 13 points back in third. Brandon Thayer, 14 points back in fourth. Holroyd is 23 back in fifth. Jason Huffman, despite all the bad luck he's been having, 26 points back, sixth place. Not too bad. You see Clarence Prince in there mixing it up, 28 points back in seventh. Ty, 36 points back. And then Norm, 37 back. And Mike Scamilla, 47 back. I have to take a second to look at this and just point out that these are some pretty tight points. I realize, this is only our 4th race on the season, although, we've had a couple off weeks. It might feel like it's been a long season so far. 4th race on the season, and there's a 47-point spread between 1st and 10th. I'll take it, and there's some really good cars up there producing points. So, good job, guys. Keep up the good work, and let's see how tight we can get this up to the cutoff for the drop races. So, like I mentioned, Cup Series is out in Watkins Glen this Sunday. I believe you guys go live on that about 7:25 as well after qualifying.
Right.
Ought to be a great race. James, if you're broadcasting, feel free, man. You can pull me up at any point during the race. I'll be happy to hop in there and give you guys a little heads up on what's going on. But aside from that, yeah, hold me to it. Aside from that, it'll be, business as usual, good league racing at a road course. So we look forward to seeing everybody out there that can join in.
Thanks to everybody for joining us on YouTube. We see you. We see you out there, Huffman. Sorry about the broadcaster curse. I probably threw out an oil slick right in front of you, but you did make a pretty awesome save of the day. I don't know about, there's a lot more saves, but we see everybody. We see your text, and appreciate you chatting us and liking us on your way in or on your way out.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it on that for the week. We'll be back at it next week following the 4th of July extravaganza, the Road Series coming back from Suzuka, and the Cup Series out Watkins Glen. We'll cover some real life racing action because I know Cup's still going racing. Chicago Street Course, I believe, this week. So we'll have a good bit to talk about next week, and hopefully JT can join us. But until then, everybody stay safe. Again, if you're launching fireworks, aim it away from your face. And be safe, guys. Enjoy the festivities, and enjoy celebrating the 4th of July, the independence of our country. We'll catch you all next week, and till then, have a good one.
All right. Thanks again. Don't forget to stay in your lane.